Hi everybody, I hope this afternoon is going well for you. I know it's after lunchtime and this is the 2:30 period where people start falling asleep, so hopefully I'll be able to keep you guys entertained for the next hour. I was supposed to be able to do this session only 30 minutes and then a gentleman from Stanford couldn't make it, so I am doing the whole hour. So, my name is Becky Mangum. I'm with Duke University Law School. I've been with Duke for 5.5 years. I've been a network administrator, an IT analyst, whatever title you want to give me. I troubleshoot problems, I help end users, and maintain our network. So it's a combination of everything. I've had 13 years of troubleshooting experience, both in the corporate and in the academic environments. So what I want to kind of get a feel for before I go on with my presentation is just kind of get a feel for who I have in the audience. So I know whether to be really non-techie, which this is a more non-techie presentation. How many law IT folks do we have out there? Oh, everybody. So all of you, or most of you, answer help calls. You answer the phone and you help end users. Or maintain the networks in some point, or is that correct? Okay. Let me go ahead and begin. I've incorporated in my presentation the evolution versus revolution, the whole theme that is going on with CALI. And right now in our law school at Duke Law, with all of the technology changes and everything that we're hearing on that's going on with CALI, is anything from your laptops to your desktops to your PDAs to your cell phones, wireless, everything going on. There still has to be somebody to call to help for those problems that things go wrong. Revolution in our law school means angry faculty or staff or students. More faculty, I think, than any of our group. This could be anything from taking their Lexus icon off their desktop and saying, you're going to use the web. They're going to get mad about it because it's a change, and they want it to go slowly, meaning that, okay, I'm going to leave it on your desktop, but this is the web, we want you to start using that. They're okay with the evolution. Then they love their computer, and they want to keep it forever. We've had a faculty, and I put on my Revolution song on there, and I didn't take it from John, but I did have my Revolution song on there. Can you continue on here? There we go. The evolution and so on, and what we do at the law school is to take things slow. And we have to with some of our faculty. Of course, some of the newer faculty that are coming in are wanting everything and knowing everything. But then we have still an elite group that still want to use the typewriter or have their faculty support do everything for them. What I'm going to do is just go over our environment at the law school and just give you a quick overview of what we have there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Our organization and how we have things set up, how we do our help desk route, and then get more into the troubleshooting tips and some things that I've picked up in my 13 years of experience that has really helped me out, not only in my training, but just in my experiences in everyday help calls. And then how we perceive our quality customer service for our students, faculty, staff, and anybody else in the law school community. And then I want to save some time for some questions and comments and tips from you. Probably I'm going to try to get 20 minutes of time there. I have a video to show you in the end. Let me introduce just our small staff for the computing help desk. This is Ken Hirsch. How many of you know Ken Hirsch? Okay, you'll appreciate some of the things I say in my last slide when it comes to Ken Hirsch. He's been at the law school since the paper and has moved up all the way up and to be the manager of our computing center. This is our faculty specialist support. He helps mostly faculty not only with their help calls, of course all of our jobs overlap, but he helps them specialize in some things that they might need for their classroom, help them out with a presentation or more training, and do more of a specialized training for our faculty. And this is me. And this is our Help Desk Supervisor. She is actually physically located in a point in our library where students can come directly to her. So she is the front lineman, so to speak, for our students. So when she gets overwhelmed or can't help somebody, then she escalates them up to us. We have about, let me go over our environment here. We have about 300 workstations, plus we have laptops. All of our students are required to have laptops, and we have about 600 students. And then we have 300 workstations. All of these are PC-based. We only have 2 Macs in the building, and that's beginning to change every year. We have public terminals throughout, probably about 20 public terminals. We have about 85 computers in our library carrels that are all wired. And then we have all of our classrooms that have computers in them that we're also responsible for. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk a little bit later about another separate group of our overall computing center, web services, and library services. There's a whole other group that just does classroom and web. Right? What I'm talking about is what we support is the end user desk, the workstations, their office computers, the student wireless. We mostly run, all of our workstations run Windows 95, NT 2000, and XP, and our servers are Novell, NT 2000, or Linux. We have them all. We're mostly a Novell shop. We run our group-wide servers. We have about 6 file servers that we maintain with Novell, 2 production servers that just hold the data, and the majority of it is group-wise. And then we have about 40 network printers and about 20 local printers. So I'm just kind of giving you a feel for, as I go on in this presentation, kind of what we have. I know a lot of you have 10 times larger environments. Some of you have 10 times smaller environments. So I'm just kind of giving you a feel for what we have. And of course, everything we support goes along with that. We support workstation hardware and software and the server hardware and software. And we also support home computers for all the faculty and staff. So if they have a problem at home, we help them out. We try not to make the home run, but we try to have them bring their CPU in and see what we can do to fix them in-house so we don't have to leave our offices. Staff computers, there's not a big overwhelming need for help for staff computers. I'm not sure why, but it's mostly faculty. And students, a majority of it's all their laptops now. OIT, that's Office of Information Technology. That's our Duke University campus office where they handle all of our switches and cabling. So we are very lucky, because I know some law schools are not this lucky, that they handle everything with our cabling and switches and routers. We don't have to do anything. If we've got a problem, we just call them, and they're fantastic. They'll come over within 20 minutes if something goes wrong with one of our cabling. So we're spoiled in that aspect. Wireless, we got wireless within our building for the library and a couple of our lounge areas, and we have a plan to be wireless throughout the whole building in the next few weeks. So hopefully by the end of the summer, our whole building inside and out will be wireless. And Palms, as more and more faculty are getting Palms, we're supporting that. Of course, we support the laptops, the scanners, the printers. We do the training. Everything that goes along with that computer at your desk and those resources on your computer to use those resources, we do. We also do after-hour support. We are available 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week, so we all are on an on-call rotating page. Ken Hirsch, he's our Director of Computing Services. Lonzo Felder, and this is just an organization chart just to show you how it's broken down just in our department. So there's three of us with Ken, and then we have 2 help desks that help on weekends. So those bottom, Carlos Sanford there, he's our help desk on weekends, and then we have part-time student helpers. So we try to cover as many hours as we can and cover that phone. Now, the computing services versus the media, web, services, and library. We have our information technology media services. Wayne Miller, he's our new educational technology. You might have seen him. He's here at this conference also doing a presentation. And this is a whole other section now that has just come up in the last few years because everything's going web-based. and the curriculum. So we've actually got a whole new staff now of just Wayne. He's got a web programmer under him, a web designer, and another web person that helps with the inputting. On top of that, he's got a video person who not only does the runaround to each classroom when there's a problem. We also have another one who actually does video if I can get that, editing in their department. So this is a whole other department, and when something goes wrong in a classroom, we don't have to worry about it. If the computer something goes wrong with the computer, like here, if something went wrong with the computer and they couldn't figure it out, we would be called. But the majority of the time, we don't have to worry about classrooms. This has just changed in the last year. We've had to cover the classrooms in the last year and the year before and so on because we didn't have a separate group. But technology is changing and things are growing so fast that we've had to bring more people on board. And then our web services and the library. And of course, the library is the key core to not only helping us find out what the faculty need, but the Lexis and the Westlaw training. And the library is, and it's hard to include them with what I'm doing with technology, but they know what the faculty need. And they come to us and we go to them and saying, okay, let's find out what the faculty needs. So they got the inside scoop of what resources they need and what kind of research they have to do and what they need at their desktop. And let me go through our help desk route real quick. It might seem confusing to somebody who's never seen it before, but we have one telephone line that is called the 7072 line. If someone needs help, whether the printer's not working or they can't get into WordPerfect or they can't find their files, they call the 7072 line. This is full-time coverage, a rotating on-call pager, meaning that if nobody's there to answer the phone, it will page us, and then we have 20 minutes to answer that call back. They also can email us. We also, the thing with this email is we have it says ongoing staff review. So if we get an email, whoever reads it first answers the calls or forwards it to the appropriate person. And then a regular voicemail. Anytime I have any kind of message whatsoever, I'm always paged. So if I'm on call, I actually get double pages. Then I'll get an on-call. And the 7072, we have to answer within 20 minutes. I mean that we might not have the problem fixed in 20 minutes, but we have to answer that call and let the user know that we're on our way, or I'll see what I can do, but as long as that we have to answer it back within 20 minutes. But this is what sometimes happens. The user phones, right, and he doesn't get an answer. So, of course, they're not going to want to leave a message because they need help right away. So if they do leave a message, okay, so the person on call gets paged. They also call all of our numbers. We might be in a meeting, which really happens that we're all in a meeting. The user also emails the problem, and then the user pages all of us. So what happens is the potential duplication of support. We all end up at the user's desk. Rarely happens because we try to train them and let them know that if you call just that one number, you'll get helped a whole lot faster. Or you won't be getting different answers from all of us because we're trying to fix the problem in all different aspects. One might be try to call, one might be running down to the office, one might have it fixed already, and here I am trying to rush down to go see what needs to be fixed. So if everybody uses that one telephone line, it would make everybody's lives easier. But again, that's hard to do. There's favorites in any kind of user environment. They like to call certain staff members to get help because they prefer that person. And that's a human thing. There's nothing you can do about that. Let me go ahead and go into my troubleshooting tips. Now, how many of you do preventive maintenance? How many of you go to each workstation and make sure they're all up to date and your servers are all up to date? Good for you. Good. We try to do the same thing. We're always a little behind, but we try to do it. On our servers, we definitely keep those up to date and we make sure that those are maintained. That's number one. And that's one of my jobs is to make sure that that thing's working. So that's the first thing that I check. I actually have a checklist, a weekly daily checklist, a weekly checklist, a monthly, and a quarterly checklist that includes let's say for my servers, and making sure the disk space. I check my stats on my servers. Those are the daily things I check. And I've got 5 other things. Then I check things on a weekly basis. I make sure my backups, I make sure my backups are daily, but on a weekly or a monthly, I try to make sure I do a restore to make sure that the restore works. I make sure there's any patches out there for any potential problems that might be happening. I monitor the system. So by doing this, we've been keeping our servers in better, I shouldn't say in better, but they've been more stable, 100% more, because I'm not, and of course it looks better on the Dean of Computing Services at the law school that you're doing this because you're not, if something goes down, you can say, well, we should have done this. Well, we should have done that. And that's the number one thing that we do is keep the servers up. The workstations are a little different. We can't always get, and I have to fix that, we can't always get to the server workstation, to the workstations all the time. We try to, and then we've got to turn around and go back. So we try to do this on a regular basis. We try to, I'm trying to go to my previous slide. We try to keep our applications updated. We try to keep our workstations packed. We try to keep the virus protection up to date. We've been doing this on our library computers. We have 85 in the Carols that the students use. They're public machines. The students log in with their own account on these machines. And I use something called ZenWorks, which is, if anybody's familiar with ZenWorks, it's a Novell product that I use to push the applications out. So if there is an upgrade, it's really easy. I can push an application out overnight using ZenWorks. Or update the virus scan. I keep going back to my previous slide. Can you tell that? And thoroughly solve problems. That is one of the key roles that I've learned in my 13 years of experience, is if you solve a problem the first time or the second time around, sometimes you have to go back to the help desk, to the user's desk the second time around. If you go back the third time, then something's wrong. You really want to try to solve the problem the first time around and spend time, and don't do a Band-Aid effect. When you put a Band-Aid on, you're going to end up back at the workstation, and then you waste time, you waste the user's time and your time. So if you do it the first time, depending on the situation. We use utilities called like Diskkeeper Lite. I'm sorry, guys. I keep hitting my button on here. Norton Utilities we use as far as making sure the workstation's hard disk is okay. We really don't do this on a daily or weekly or yearly basis. We do this when a computer starts saying their computer is slow. That's one of the first things that we try to do, meaning that it's not crashing, but it's just slow. So one of the first things we do is we use there's lots of defrag programs out there, and some that come with the operating system, come XP and Windows 2000. And I found a utility called Diskkeeper Lite, which is shareware, and that works really well. And that's actually, I've seen computers run a little bit faster after using that. Of course, removing temp files is something that we always do when they say the computer's starting to act up or the computer's slow or it's starting to hang. We remove their temp files. And of course, we remove unnecessary shareware programs and screensavers that they've put on. That's the first thing we do if they start having general problems like the computer is slow. When our phone rings and when the pager beeps. Okay, these are 3 key things that I have found in my experience is the quick response time. At Duke Law, the quick response time is what we try to have number 1. Whether that response time is to correct the problem or just be there to answer the phone. A user doesn't like to get voicemail, and they sometimes do, they sometimes don't. But if a person's there, they're really happy. And then you can say, okay, I'll be there in a few minutes, or this is going to take a little longer. Let me see if I can get someone else to help you out. But quick response time is key to good customer service. Communication. A lot of times in the law school, you'll get a user that calls and says, my computer doesn't work. Well, what doesn't work about it, right? I mean, we've all been in that situation that we don't know. And it's not the user's fault. They just don't know how to ask the question. They don't know what's wrong with it, and it's not for them to know. That's why we're here. So by asking clarifying questions and more detailed questions and eliminating what the problem could be, cuts your time in half when you're doing a help call. You have to be responsible to ask the questions. And then, of course, patience. You're the expert, they're not. By not only you asking the questions, you have to have the patience to...
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Yeah, I'm trying not to be mean for the user. I don't want to insult anybody because this is being webcast, so I don't want to ridicule but there might be some little things in there. And I don't know why I keep hitting this. You're going to hit the phone again. I want to show you something because when we have to be patient, this is what we have to listen to.
How come AOL's always busy? It took me forever to log on. When's AOL going to fix that problem? Who's going to answer my question? Who's typing? This is confusing. Why do I keep hearing sounds? I don't have mail. Somebody has...
You just don't get it, do you? You don't.
Details go a long way. I have found, in my experience, if I can answer a call over the phone, and we're having more clinics that are off-site because we're running out of room in our law school, so we've had people that are in downtown Durham, and I've had to deal with more phone calls and walking people through that way so I don't have to get in my car and drive downtown. So when I'm on the phone, and it takes a lot of patience, but when I'm on the phone and I give more descriptive steps when I'm going through to help, let's help, I'm going to come up with an example of like a WordPerfect problem. I walk them through how to press Control-Alt-Delete. I mean, pressing Control-Alt-Delete and telling a user who's never done it before how to do that over the phone can be tricky. But once you go through, take your time, go through the details, describe all the menus as you start to answer the call, goes a long way. And you can answer that call over the phone with the patience and the details. And writing documentation and instructions. We write lots and lots of step-by-step instructions, a lot of them illustrations. We're now starting to write documentations in PowerPoint with more video, more audio, making them more presentable. So if users don't want us to train them, we can send them this PowerPoint presentation and learn something. Okay, 8 basic steps. I'm a Novell certified engineer. I'm a CNE. So in my training that I've had with that, they went through some steps that I've learned over the years, and I put in some of what I've learned in this of 8 basic steps to doing a help call or going through with a help call. So what I'm going to do is take an example and go through these 8 basic steps if I can keep my slide up long enough. So, of course, the first step, I'm going to take a WordPerfect, because we are still WordPerfect, and the students are Word, and most of the staff are Word, but the faculty are still WordPerfect. So I'm actually going to go with WordPerfect 8 on this example. Okay, someone calls and says, my WordPerfect just hung, and I'm in this really important document, and I haven't saved it. And, of course, they're more panicky than that. And I said, okay, let's do this. So first off, we do the Control-Alt-Delete over the phone. And I see that it says that it's not responding. The task is not responding. So I walk through the user. Because we're on the network and because we're Novell, a majority of the time I can get a backup. I can get the last thing that was saved, or I can retrieve a temp file and actually get. So I get that before we end the task. So we click on the End Task button. Everybody familiar with the End Task button? You get the second End Task button. You got to wait there and let them know about the second End Task button. They click on that, okay, and now we just close the WordPerfect, and the users just panic now because we just closed their document and it's not saved. So you assure them that we either saved it or we'll try to get their last backup. Detailed and preventive maintenance is to make sure that that backup drive is in any application that's out there is going somewhere, like in Word or WordPerfect or Excel. There's always somewhere where you can save a backup. So that's a preventive maintenance step that you can do ahead of time. Also, process of elimination is the next step. Okay, now that we've got to find out why WordPerfect hung. Did they install something last? Was there configuration or modification changes? Was there anything else going on that they just put a screensaver on or something like that? I mean, what caused it to hang? Well, what we try to do is now eliminate some of the things that might have happened. Like did they, I think, let's say in this scenario that the document, it was just that one document. We had them open another document and do some editing changes and see if it hung. And again, I'm trying to do this over the phone because I've got other calls coming in. I've got emails coming in. So at this point, with the user being frustrated, it's time to hang up and go down to the workstation and help them and then talk through the elimination process. In this case, we found out that we eliminated that it wasn't their computer. I opened the document on my computer, and it worked fine. WordPerfect's got a corrupt utility that I can run. It said that the document was not corrupt, so it wasn't the document, so it must be something to do with WordPerfect. Nothing else has been going on with the computer. We run GroupWise. GroupWise was fine. Their email system's fine. The Internet's been fine. They've been using their computer. It was just this one time. So do we go with the quick fix and turn the computer off and turn it on and let them keep working? We can try that. Sure, let's try that first. But now we might have that second call because we're not sure if that really fixed the problem. Half the time it does, half the time it doesn't. So let's say that we did that and then go back in the document and it hangs again. Now I start looking at WordPerfect because I can open the document and do some editing on my computer and it's working fine. So now it's a WordPerfect problem. So now I try to eliminate WordPerfect and now I actually suggest, which is a big, huge problem, to make a suggestion to a user that we go to WordPerfect 9 because it works a whole lot better, or their template might be corrupt. I can erase their template and recreate a new one, which sometimes can be painful for those faculty support who have like 5 toolbars that they've customized at the top, but it might fix the problem. So I killed the template, reopen WordPerfect, they opened the document, and it still hangs. So you still have to try to eliminate. And what we found out in this case is I did go ahead and uninstall WordPerfect. Because now this was like 20 minutes right there. This is a 20-minute process. As I talk, it doesn't seem like a 20-minute process. It seems like hours. But it was only 20 minutes that we concluded this. So what I did is I uninstalled WordPerfect, got everything off, went through the registry and got everything off because, you know, those uninstallers don't uninstall everything. I go through the registry and I clean anything out that had to do with WordPerfect in the registry. Of course, I make a backup of the registry first. And then I install WordPerfect 9, the document opens and everything's back up and running. So did we really find out, you know, what was WordPerfect 8? Yeah, we did, but we're not exactly sure what the problem was, but it was a timing issue. They had to get back up and running on the workstation. So we developed a plan, we fixed the problem, I helped the user, I used my tool. In this case, I used WordPerfect 9 to replace it, and the user was back up and happy. A little bit of training, though. At that point now, that I got WordPerfect 9, I've got a whole new WordPerfect. At that point, they didn't care as long as it was working. A lot of users would care. They said, no, I don't want it, or give me WordPerfect 9 with my WordPerfect 5.1 toolbar. I mean, my key, so I can still use that. I mean, we still have users that still want to use the same tools that they've been using for years and years and years. Required tools. I have a CD, or I have a book of CDs that I carry with me on help calls. It saves a whole lot. A lot of this is on the network, but all these utilities that I have, like the Diskkeeper Lite, our Novell client, a lot of our software that we use is on the network, but I also carry a CD with me because it's easy to have the utility, put it in their computer, especially if they're not on the network because the network's not running. I can carry my CDs with me, and any patches also. And I'm just going through the 8 basic steps where we corrected the problem. You have to make the decision at that point whether or not it's going to take a couple hours to fix, or 30 minutes, or 5 minutes. And you have to communicate with the user and find out whether or not it's better for them to be in the office, or no, you know what, you can do this during my lunch hour. So the problem with that is sometimes when you're trying to solve a problem, and let me give you an example. A user called me up a couple weeks ago and said, oh, my calendar's not printing. I'm in GroupWise and I can't print my calendar. It's not printing out. I'm going to lunch. Can you come down and find out what's going on? I'll leave my computer on. So I go down there, and I went and I printed the calendar, and the calendar worked fine. I went back in my office, I put it in their chair and emailed this particular user and said, it printed out fine. I said, called me back and said, well, I wanted it printed landscaped, I wanted 4 months printed, and I wanted to include this content and this. See, a little bit of a communication there. The user wasn't in the office. If I went down why she was in the office, we could have gotten it solved. So, of course, then I had to go walk her through. Actually, that was something that I could walk her through on how to print out her calendar the way she wanted. So again, that's kind of something that I couldn't really ask her because she just said her calendar couldn't print. So I could have asked some more clarifying questions in that situation to try to get the problem solved over the phone. So we'll determine how long the process takes, and will you need to provide other resources? Will you need to provide something else for them? We've got a couple laptops that we keep in-house. If something is dead in the water, we usually have maybe one office open that we can move the user or bring a laptop to their office so they can continue working depending on the problem. Very rare, knock on wood now, do we have hardware problems nowadays. We have more software problems. We have more how do I's. How do I do this? Lots more of how do I do this than actual problems. We have more software problems and more application problems than we do hardware problems, which is because of the technology. And we have a lot of calls on how do I, especially with the students. So it's not really a problem, it's just I need some documentation, I need someone to show me this. And of course, the last thing we want to make sure is that the user is satisfied, that the user is happy in the end, that everything is working, and we didn't put a Band-Aid effect on it, and everything is back up and running. Depending on the problem is whether or not we document it. And we have a program that I'll show you in the next few slides, a system called TrackIt that we use, that we monitor our help calls within the system. So we document only as appropriate, meaning that if it took a day, if it took a week to solve this problem, if it was something that was really hard to solve, then we document that. So the next time around, if it happens again, I can go into this TrackIt system and I find out what we did to clear that up. And I follow up with the user. Depending again, as it's appropriate, I follow up with the user. I always try to follow up with the user, and especially on the more complicated problems. I call them, I email them, I say, I just want to make sure everything's running. And the last three are really important steps, especially in follow-up. Users really like that. The faculty really like that. Our TrackIt system, this is our PC management. It's a very inexpensive piece of software that we use. We also use this for our inventory system. Right now, we'll be implementing, and we might be implementing ZenWorks again on our faculty and staff side for our inventory. This also has reporting tools, and I'm quite embarrassed to say that 43 calls are in there, and we've had this up for a year and a half. So, and you can see a majority of them are mine because the staff, me and my coworkers, it's hard to use. It's just a time-consuming thing to try to enter it in. I'd rather have it on a piece of paper and then try to go find it. You know, so it's hard to input this. But when a user calls and we're trying to walk them through, we're not typing it down. We're writing it down because if we have to go down to their office, is there a better way for this? There might be. There's a web version of this TrackIt Help Desk that we probably can use, so when we're in somebody else's office, we can look it up. But again, if they're having a network problem or an internet problem, we can't get to it. So this is something that we might need to work on, and I'm going to ask you in the end as a group of if you guys use any Help Desk software to track your calls that come in. We do our training, and again, this is part of our preventive maintenance system, is to do training. We offer an orientation packet to all of our new faculty and staff that come in. It's a book that shows them how to use our email system. It introduces us as computing services. It tells them about our web and who to contact and who to call for help, and contains everything they need to know to get started on their computer. If a user reads this our calls are 10 times less from that user if they go through this and read it one time. Some of them, of course, we do one-on-one training where we actually go down and help the user and train them, going through the orientation packet with them. But a majority of the time when new faculty are coming in or new staff, they're busy right away, so we just give them the book and tell them, they can go through it and read it. And they do. A lot of them do. And it helps out because it not only helps them with our email system, it tells them who to email if they need help, who our groups are, meaning that if you want to send an email out to all of the first-year students or to the faculty and staff, what do you use, what group do you use? We get that detailed in this orientation packet. We also give them training on application. We try to have group training, but that's never been the case. Never, ever can you ever get faculty in a group and train them. We've never had success with that, and we've tried several times. We try to do like WordPerfect, or lately it's been more PowerPoint than anything, and we're processing for the faculty support. But again, it's one-on-one. It's more one-on-one, or we grab a small group of users and try to get them around a computer and train them. We also, all of us are trained in classrooms, so all of the technology in the classrooms, from the blackboards to the video conferencing and webcasting and everything that goes on into your state-of-the-art classrooms, we're cross-trained on that. So not only do we help maintain the computers and make sure they're running, we do have the group that there's phones in the classroom that they can get help right away from the classrooms. And if they're not available, then we're cross-trained that we can go help them, which I don't like at all, because I can run the network, I can kill a server and bring a server back up, but when someone calls and says their video or something doesn't work in a classroom, I kind of panic because I'm not used to it, because I don't do it all the time. Our existing faculty and staff, we try to keep them up to date on applications. Most of the time, again, are applications that have been changed or updated. We're getting ready to upgrade to Novell 6, which is going to be offering some great new services for us. So we'll be offering training sessions on that, and that will mostly be probably write-ups. That'll probably be documentation. And again, all of our existing faculty are trained in the classroom. We train students every year. Since laptops are required at Duke Law School, this year, let me do an example. This year we've got 44 new summer students. They came in with their laptops. We give them a minimum recommendation that we want them to come in with. Of course, we get a lot of questions before they come in. And when they do come in, we offer orientation training. We sit them in a classroom for a couple hours, and we go through and have them install our network software, have them install our email system. We go through them and make sure they're up and running. This is really understaffed right now. When we have to pull ourselves out of our offices and have to go to this training and start training all these, we're just short-staffed. When there's only 4 of us, and 3 of us really, you've got 200 students coming in with laptops in the fall. So we're looking at hiring temporary workers to help us out. This is a really big issue every year, because not only did this turn around, everybody came in with like a Dell Latitude or an IBM, and everything was integrated. Everything was internal, the wireless, the Ethernet, and the modem. I didn't have to worry about configuring a PCMCI card. So that has helped us out a lot, and the training went by a whole lot faster because we didn't have to train them on how to install their PCMCI card. We also give them a CD with software, and this is what every student gets, one of these to install, and we walk through the installation procedures with them. Ken Hirsch actually is going to be doing a session on how he creates that CD. I don't know if it's tomorrow or Saturday, but he'll be doing a session on that. All of our returning students, we make sure we give them or let them know that there is a new CD available if they want to upgrade their software from the previous year. And we send them a memo on any kind of system changes. Quality, customer service. Okay, the number one thing at Duke Law School is response time. Again, this is response time to have somebody at that phone. If not, have them get an answer back saying, I'll be back with you. And that's our key goal. We also ask clarifying questions. We communicate as much as we can, and that takes a lot of patience, again, to try to get their questions answered, their problems solved right away. And if you can't solve it right away, we try to say, okay, you know, I got the error message. If there is an error message, which you're very lucky, we have the error message. I'm going to go find out what it is. I'll get back to you. And then at that time, even if you know it's going to take, you know, you're trying to do other calls and you realize it's been a couple hours now, by the end of the day, I try to email the faculty member and say, you know, I'm still working on this problem. I haven't found a solution, but I'm still working on it, and I'll get back with you. So we want to make sure there's a satisfied end user, and we prioritize all of our work versus, you know, someone not working at all, a computer not working at all, or can't even run WordPerfect or get their email up or get to the web, or they're having troubles with Lexis or Westlaw. We try to prioritize those with the ones that can't print to this printer, but they can reroute it to another network printer. And then, of course, our training and providing any kind of support for any kind of new resources that are coming in. More and more is coming in, like we're having our wireless building now being the whole building now. So we're having more students coming in with that. So that's more things that we have to support, that we have to learn to support for our staff and make sure we can answer their questions and fix their problems. So we have to train ourselves and learn about that ourselves. And optimize software applications, again, by keeping things up to date and finding out what the faculty wants. What the future holds for us, I'm just putting down a few things. One thing that I'll ask too at the end is remote support. I wanted to find out how many of you remote into workstations and actually take over the workstations to help them out versus walking them through on the phone. And I'll find out how, I want to see how successful that is, because we're thinking about doing that through ZenWorks, again, for the faculty and staff. And we can do it right now for the students who are at the library computers, because they're out in the library. So we can do that now. The whole web services and the media and the information technology and computing services, our whole group at Duke Law School has been getting together and coming up with strategic planning for the next phase of the future. And number one thing that I thought in this planning is who to call for help. Now we're getting bigger. We don't have one key person to call. We have that 7072 line, but now you're in a classroom. There's a number on the phone that says, call this for help here. So let me see if I can come up with an example. Lexis. Someone's in Lexis, they can't print. Okay? And they not print, is it a reference desk question or is it a computing question? Who do they call? I'm in Lexis, but I'm supposed to call the reference librarians because it's a Lexis question, but I'm not doing research, but I can't print. So who do they call? Majority of the time, it's everybody. And integrating technology as we add more and more things to the workstation, from the palms. We're not going wireless in the faculty or staff's office. We're all wired, and I don't think we plan on going wireless anywhere else but in all of the classrooms in the rest of the building. Application delivery. I guess that's a key go also in a preventive maintenance, is to make sure that's everything up to date. Although putting that patch on doesn't work all the time, it causes more problems. So that's one thing we try to test out on our own computers in our offices. We try to keep a computer up and running that's got Windows 98, because a lot of students still have Windows 98, Windows NT, 2000, XP available. So when we're writing documentation or we're trying to walk through somebody who is remotely, we can't get to someone at home, we have the computer in front of us that we can actually walk them through the steps, because they have the operating system here, because it's different. It's different menus, it's different steps, it's to right click here and left click here. Okay, this is what we really like to say and do. So I'm going to show this 5-minute video, and then I'll take some questions and answers and tips.
Oh,
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Nick Burns.
Again. Hey, did somebody call Nick Burns, that computer guy?
Turn that up.
I called him about a half hour ago. He told me to hold my horses.
I don't like that guy.
Well, you know what? I don't like this new program. It's crap. I don't know why we switched.
Because the new program is written for OS 8 and can function twice as fast. Is that enough reason, Nancy Drew?
Computer guy, he'll fix your computer, then he's gonna make fun of you. 'Cause he's Nick Burns, the company's computer guy.
Okay, all right. What's the problem with the computers?
My system is crashing.
Yeah, right. Overload. My processor can only hold one command at a time here.
I have a quick question, Nick. Yeah, I'm trying to do this quarterly, and I can't get the stupid email attachment to open at all.
It's the email that's stupid, not you, right?
We wish we could say that, but we can't.
What does it say when you try to open it?
Well, it says it just, it can't find the appropriate program to open the file.
This is a 6.0 version. You didn't upgrade yet, did you, genius?
These are Apple.
Just use your translation software.
Where's that?
Move. Done. Was that so hard? I'm so glad I came down here. It's totally worth my trip. Who's next?
Hey, Nick, how's it going?
Oh, really great. I just love teaching people remedial computers here. Should you guys be wearing helmets or something?
I'm having trouble with my printer. All my stuff keeps going out in that printer in marketing.
Oh, what? And is the walk killing you here, buddy? Just get better shoes, that's all.
No, it's just it would be easier if it here. I have my print monitor up here.
Right, use the print monitor, huh? Yeah, and that didn't work, did it? The print monitor, no.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, that's because the print monitor monitors the document you're printing. It doesn't tell what printer the direction it's going to go to. Just scroll to your chooser.
That thing you pulled out?
The thing you pulled out? Yeah, if you mean Apple file, yes, do that.
I didn't know what it was called.
Obviously. Go to your chooser, go to the printer, pick your zone, and pick your printer.
Okay, hold on, I'm on the chooser. Okay. Is this the zone here?
Move! All right, see here where it says 4 and FL? That's 4th floor. That's where we are. We're on the 4th floor. That's it. You picked that one. Was that so hard? Jeez Louise, I can't wait to get my NCSE and quit this job. What's your problem?
Well, it just crashes every time my screensaver comes up.
All right, let's run a test. Just type in xy.violator/467F46.
Type in...
Move! Son of a... Okay, here. Do you want me to save your game of Minesweeper here?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, instead of playing a game, God forbid we read the manual. Have you people ever seen computers before? What I do here is I press the letters and it manipulates the screen here and we have fun with it, okay?
Yeah, I know about computers, okay? I'm on the internet at home.
Let me guess. You're on AOL?
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing except it doesn't understand JavaScript. God, I wish someone here knew about computers because that would have gotten a laugh. Damn, crash.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Move.
You're already sitting there.
Yeah, shut up. What the hell is wrong with this thing?
Oh, hey, look, everybody. The great computer guy doesn't know what's wrong.
I'll figure it out. Just trust me. I'll do it right here.
Oh, yeah? What's the matter there, wizard? Your new program not working?
It's not the program. It's not the program. Don't say that.
Oh, no, it's not. Are you sure? Are you sure?
I just have to check the recent applications. Did you install a Dilbert screensaver?
Yeah, I love Dilbert.
Well, you already have flying toasters on there. There was a conflict. That's what's causing your computer to crash, not our software. Damn, I'm good.
Wow. I didn't know you couldn't have two screensavers.
Obviously, that's why our system is corrupted here. Problem solved. Son of a... Oh, those goofs over the organizational development. They need me over there. They make you guys look like brainiacs. I'm out of here. Oh, by the way, you're welcome.
We wish. I'd like to thank you all. I'm sorry about the power option on this laptop that I should have turned off before I started my presentation. I'd like to say thank you, and this is my very first presentation in my whole life, so I hope I did okay, and don't be too cruel on the evaluation form. For those of you that know Ken and know the law school, nobody knows us by our names, but if you remember or need to remember me, you just remember that I work for Ken Hirsch. You don't need to know who I am, just that I work for Ken Hirsch, because he is the evolutionary of the law school. He knew I was going to do this. I had to get his approval, of course, because I wanted a job when I came back on Monday. Okay, so are there any questions? One of my questions, I guess, was the help desk. There was a couple that I just wanted to see what you were using, and then I'll take some questions from the audience.
We've been using PC Anywhere for the past year on the back of
Okay, yeah, we use PC Anywhere, but we use it mostly, we think of it mostly from their home, if they want to get into the workstations at work. So that's good to know. Thank you. Yeah, you have a question?
Yeah, we was on service call and we gave us the service doing lunch hour. Whatever service problem is, you have to use the computer, you don't have to password.
Correct.
How do you handle the password?
Sometimes we ask for them, which is not a good thing, and that is a security breach that, as far as a policy with the university, you're not supposed to do. But we do ask them for the password depending on the user. If it's like NT or 2000 or XP, we set up the workstations with the administrator with the same password on all of our workstations with the same administrative password. So depending on the problem, in that area I had to be on as her because I had to get into her email. So I would have had to ask her for her password, or I would have had to wait. And there's been times where people don't want to give you their password, so you have to wait until they get back from lunch. So, yeah. Or I can get on, depending on the problem, I can still get on as the workstation and correct any problems from there. ZenWorks. It's a Novell product. We use Novell. Yeah. Or they might have an NT version. That'd be something to look at. I'm not sure, because I've used it mostly for our environment. Any other questions or comments? Or yes? Yes. That's good. That's interesting, because just like PC Anywhere, we use VNC also when users don't have to do any kind of file transfer from home, but they want a VNC to their computers at work. But I've never really thought of it as a remote workstation. We're always looking at something bigger. So those are two good suggestions. Thank you. Yeah. Oh yeah, doesn't NetMeeting provide also visual if you had a camera? Yeah. Oh, good. And that works well? That's what you guys use? And how do your users feel then when you use that? I mean, do they rather do that? Do some of them do that, or they'd rather you walk down to their office so you're physically there to...
Typically, if it's local, it's actually on our campus. We prefer to make that but if it's cross town.
Correct. So that'd be a good solution for us, for the people who are across town, and they're actually moving more and more people across town. So, any other questions? Yeah. That's what we're trying to do. And some of them, of course, put on the web after we have them up. But we've had one of our faculty support specialists, Alonzo Felder, who is here. He just came up with we're getting some new Dells. And new Dells have DVDs. Not that everybody plays movies, but they have the CD rewritables. So some of the faculty support and some of them now are requesting, well, how do I burn a CD? So he came up with a little presentation that didn't take him very long to create, with some screenshots, a little bit of video in there to make it presentable. It was like 5 or 6 slides, and we sent it to the users that were asking the questions. Kind of since we're in the summer, I mean, we're so busy, but we're in the summer, we wanted to see how these users reacted to it, or were they able to use it, were they able to do it without us having to come. And if that's successful, we can start, putting that on the web. But we do have how to do guides for the students via the web. We don't have really anything on the web to help faculty and staff on how to do guides. We can direct them to a lot of the things that the students use, like how do I use my email from home, how to use our web, we use group-wise webmail, how do I get into that, how do I change my password, things like that. Okay, any other comments or any tips that anybody wants to share? Help out? Let me see if I have any more questions for y'all. Oh, I wanted to ask is because our kind of system almost seems a little archaic in that we do go to the phone, leave a message on the phone, we get a pager. Now we've got to go find the phone, so we don't have our cell phones with us. I've got to go find a phone if I'm walking around the building to answer my 7072 call page. So how many of you use cell phones that your users can call directly?
What we do is our help desk person, when they receive a call, will direct the call to the staff member. So we don't give the cell phone numbers out to the end user.
Good idea.
Through the help desk.
Okay. And then they can ring you on your cell phone.
You also might want to consider having the help desk person get a next telephone, because then if you get hold of you directly, you'll direct connect.
Yes. Oh, you mean with my regular phone, like in my office?
Well, yeah, see, all of our group, we all carry these next telephones, and we use them like walkie-talkies.
Oh, yeah.
Directly get a hold of somebody.
Now, they do that for our classrooms. They do have those for our classrooms because you have to have immediate response for the classroom, so they do that. Okay, any others? That they have their like, almost like,
It's called next telephone. It's a direct connect.
a direct connect, yeah.
Where literally you can talk to a person direct without having to dial a phone.
Right. Kind of like their walkie-talkies. Any others? Okay, is it almost 3:30? We'll get out 1 minute early. Is that okay?